When we hear about an air disaster, our minds immediately go to the tragic human cost. It's a devastating event, and rightfully so. That's where our focus is. But have you ever considered what happens to the airline itself in the seconds, days, and years that follow? Beyond the human tragedy lies a financial catastrophe so immense, it can literally erase a company from existence. Today, on G Fun Facts Online, we're pulling back the curtain on the sky-high cost of a crash, and how some airlines survive while others are sent into a fatal tailspin. The moment news of a crash breaks, the financial bleeding begins. The first and most public casualty? The airline's stock price. Investors, seeing a future filled with lawsuits and scared customers, rush to sell. It's a digital nosedive that can wipe out millions, even billions, in market value almost instantly. And studies show a grim pattern. The more fatalities, the steeper the drop. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine the direct costs piling up. You've lost a plane. A modern commercial jet can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to replace. Then, there's the search and recovery. Locating wreckage, especially in the deep sea, is a monumental task. The search for Air France Flight 447 alone cost around $40 million just to find the black boxes. And then comes one of the biggest, most unpredictable expenses: victim compensation and legal fees, which can run into millions of dollars per passenger. Add in the cost of grounding entire fleets for safety checks and canceling flights, and you have a perfect storm of financial hemorrhaging. So how does an airline navigate this turbulence? Let's look at a few real-world examples. And perhaps no airline illustrates this struggle more starkly than Malaysia Airlines. In 2014, the airline was hit by an unthinkable double tragedy. The mysterious disappearance of Flight MH370, followed just months later by the shooting down of Flight MH17. The airline was already struggling financially, but this was a potential death blow. Following the disappearance of MH370, sales from China, a huge market for them, plummeted by 60%. After the second disaster, the airline was reportedly losing $1 to $2 million a day. It was on the brink of collapse. The only thing that saved it was a government intervention. The Malaysian state stepped in, took the airline private, and began a massive, painful restructuring process. They slashed routes, cut staff, and launched a major rebranding effort focused on rebuilding trust. It was a long, arduous road, but incredibly, in 2023, almost a decade later, Malaysia Airlines finally reported its first annual net profit. Now let's look at Air France and the crash of Flight 447 in the Atlantic in 2009. This case was different. The investigation found a mix of technical failure and pilot error. While the financial hit wasn't as existentially threatening as it was for Malaysia Airlines, the damage to its reputation was severe. How did they handle it? Their strategy was built on transparency and communication. They were quick to acknowledge the incident and provide regular updates, even when they had little information. They focused on tangible safety enhancements, changing pilot training protocols in partnership with Airbus. It wasn't a quick fix. The airline faced years of operating losses, but through cost-cutting and a long-term commitment to rebuilding its brand, it eventually returned to profitability, proving that navigating a post-crisis world is a marathon, not a sprint. But not every story has a comeback. The tale of TransAsia Airways is a grim reminder of that. This Taiwanese carrier suffered 2 fatal crashes within just 7 months, between 2014 and 2015. The second crash, where the plane clipped a bridge in Taipei, was captured on dashcam video seen around the world. The public perception was shattered. Passengers simply stopped flying with them. Despite slashing ticket prices, they couldn't fill their planes. The 2 accidents were the final blow to an already financially shaky airline. In November 2016, TransAsia Airways ceased all operations and vanished from the skies. So what's the common thread here? Beyond insurance, which can soften the blow of losing an aircraft, the single most critical factor for survival is managing reputation. In an industry built on trust, Safety isn't just a priority, it's the entire product. The airlines that survive are the ones that react with speed, honesty, and empathy. They demonstrate a long-term, tangible commitment to making things right and ensuring it never happens again. The financial impact of an air disaster is a powerful destructive force that ripples far beyond the airline, affecting tourism and a country's entire economy. It's a stark lesson that for an airline, the most valuable asset isn't its fleet of planes, but the trust of the people who fly in them.